Okay, well, Laura asked me to talk about my PG tip that I happened to give at the table this time last month, I think it was. And it's about how I use competitions to attract visitors to my site. It's got two benefits, if I understand the workings of the internet correctly. First is the obvious one, that by visiting the website, they'll see my products and hopefully buy them. And secondly, by generating a lot of hits on the site, it should help to improve my Google rankings. I run two competitions each year. The first is a photographic competition where people enter photos of their babies wearing our hats. And during the voting process, they're encouraged to invite their friends to get voting too, so that boosts our database and introduces potential customers to our websites and products. And when I run anything online, I'm always careful to try and include a landing page, which they're returned to after voting in this case, thanking them for taking part, wishing them good luck, and then at the end encouraging them to shop with us, because that is my main incentive and goal of the thing. And this year we had over 500 voters in the space of 2 weeks, most of whom were new to the site, and we've had orders from some of them since too, and those were the winners. It's a very cute product. Baby's not included, obviously. The company ran a big campaign in 2010, which was a summer adventure for 6 of our hats. Being woolen hats, trade is less brisk for us in the summer, and so I wanted to come up with an idea that engaged with our customers as well as fans on Facebook and reminded them that we were still about and selling. I made each of the hats a passport, and in fact, this is one of the ones that I got back for Fifi la Fraise. And they each had a name, an identity, and they had their own story. Archie the Acorn was the most adventurous one, and there was also Betty the Banana, Fifi la Fraise, as I said, who's a strawberry, who was into French fashion and so renamed herself, Kiri the Kiwi, Pete the Pineapple, and Billy the Blackcurrant. And they all hid themselves in jiffy bags amongst the other items I was posting out that day, and mailed themselves off to volunteers whose support they'd enlisted online. Tips were provided on the website as to what participants should do, and at each port of call, hats were photographed, hopefully on a baby's head, but on this case on what's he called, Henry the teddy bear. Once they'd been photographed, they were then shipped on to somebody new with their passport to a new location. Each of the hats had their own blog, and anyone interested could catch up with their adventures online. I'm very quiet in the summer, you could tell that. Could catch up with their adventures online at regular intervals when we posted photographs of their recent stopover. Here he is in Hong Kong. And details of who they'd stayed with and what they'd got up to. Because they had their own identity and reason for wanting to go off travelling, some of them were able to explore their particular interest. Billy here is at the vet because he had an interest in looking at different careers that were available to him. And when one of them went missing for a while, because some of the contestants were actually, participants were not quite as good at moving them on very quickly, they sort of went missing. So I invented a story where Sophie fell in with the seedier side of modelling. But eventually escaped back to her original carer. Others went missing, and we had to make up missing posters for them to see if we could discover their whereabouts. And others just seemed to get lucky and constantly moved on to a new location somewhere else. Anyone involved in helping them to travel was entered into a competition, and they could win in different categories. We had furthest travelled, most stops made, or in this case, best photo. So again, all of these photos were uploaded, and we could encourage people to vote, which again was bringing in new people to our website. I had no idea how well this would work out as I was totally dependent on strangers getting involved and keeping the hats moving. So I was astonished. Well, that actually is the winner of the best photo, Pete the Pineapple with some of his cousins. I was astonished at the end that between them, because they did actually go off, they'd covered 119,000 miles between them, visiting places as far-reaching as Canada, the US, Australia, New Zealand, Sweden, Thailand, and Hong Kong, as you saw before. Archie travelled 36,000 miles on his own during the competition and has gone on to rack the same again because the last participant took such a shine to him, she's kept him, and she takes him on holiday wherever she goes, somewhere new. So I get photos periodically. He's still blogging wherever he goes. So last summer, I sent Archie off again this year, but on a virtual holiday, because I haven't obviously got him, because the participant has kidnapped him. And he spent the summer travelling the world, visiting new locations again, and every other day we posted a photograph of him on the website in front of a famous landmark, and as well as posting updates on Facebook and Twitter, we sent alerts out to those contestants who wanted to take part so they could log in and enter the competition. This is the results, obviously. So every other day, something like that appeared, telling them how to get involved. There was the photo on that particular day, and they entered. And as you can see, he was accompanied by this woman that has kept hold of him. She was the last person to send in a photo, and in fact, it's worked quite well, because I think some people get Archie and Henry confused. I'm not sure whether they think Archie's the teddy bear or the hat now, but he now goes with him wherever he goes. So just checking, really, the reason I sort of believe it did help with us was that Google Analytics, and you won't really be able to see that very clearly, showed that we started to reach a much wider audience following the first campaign. We went from sort of 20 countries to 52 countries in 2010, and then in 2011 we're now reaching an audience from 169 countries around the world. And so we're going to carry on, and this year Archie's going to visit famous people instead, and who knows who he'll meet.